Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. However, wherever, whenever you're listening, this is the Root for Wisconsin Show, episode 160, coming at you from the Riverwood Gallery Studio in De Pere, Wisconsin. I'm host, producer Eric Fisher, the Big E. Joining me this week, we've got member of the Highway 22 crew, Sean Klosterman. Sean, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing great. Okay, we have to interrupt. Sean, you have to go to College Football 25, not Madden.
Got it.
No,
So Shauna is around. She is got a headset
she's
on.
putting her college person into Madden right away.
Yeah. So Shauna is around. You might hear her chime in. She is playing College Football Road to Glory. So we'll see what happens. We are live with episode 160. Got plenty to talk about. And as always, we start off with our friends over at RPW Ragin' Pro Wrestling. Two events coming up November 1st and 2nd. November 1st, they have RPW Envision, or excuse me, I always do this.
You don't have this down by now?
RPW Destiny 4. I always get confused as to which night is which. RPW Destiny 4 on Friday, November 1st at Big Apple Pub and Grill in Manitowoc. And then the next night, also at Big Apple Pub and Grill in Manitowoc, RPW Envision 3. Back-to-back nights, back-to-back loaded cards. You're not going to want to miss it. Should be a fun time. I know we will be there in some capacity. I believe both nights, as right now, is the plan. Subject to change, as all indie wrestling shows are. Tickets are available at Look Sharp at the Fox River Mall and rpwprowrestling.com. Get your tickets. They are still available. And some big shows coming up in the year 2025, including, Sean, one that you're looking forward to, with a now New Japan star. Somebody who's spent time in WWE, AEW, Parker Bordeaux. Expected to be coming to RPW in 2025. So you can always see the latest happenings with RPW on their social media. Again, you don't want to miss it. Should be a great couple shows. With that, Sean, we dive into the episode. We can start off with what we had rooted for in the past week. Sean, I'll let you start this off.
Sure. I'm just going to go back to, let's go Malik Willis. How he's been just able to do what's been asked of him for the last 2 weeks. And it's been pretty nice, actually.
Yeah, I plenty to talk about on the Malik Willis train. And I'm sure we'll get to that quite a bit later throughout the show. But yeah, it's been. I think when Jordan Love first got hurt, I know a lot of us Packer fans are hitting the panic button. Season's over. What's going to happen? And to go 2-0 in that span without Jordan Love. Do we have a quarterback controversy in Green Bay? Okay, no, we don't. But it's fun to pretend.
We were all looking back at the Deshaun Kaiser Green Bay Packers.
Hundley Green Bay Packers and the Scott Tolzien, Seneca Wallace, Matt Flynn Green Bay Packers.
Well, we could have Matt Flynn. That'd be fine.
You know,
he's got the most touchdown passes in Packer history in a game. So, doesn't he have the most yards too?
He shares that distinction.
Yeah, but does he have the most yards?
I'd have to. I think he still does.
I think so too.
It's close, but I know he shares that 6 touchdown game with Aaron.
Yeah,
because Aaron did it against the Bears, and I don't think Favre had a 6 touchdown game. Probably had a 6 interception game, but.
No, I don't think so. I think 5. Did he have 5 when his dad died, or was it 4?
He had 4 in that game.
Okay, I don't remember.
That was a phenomenal. I mean, that's still one of my favorite games I've ever watched in my life.
Mm-hmm.
My root for the last week, I don't know if you saw this story today, Sean, but I'm going to say I'm rooting for UNLV quarterback. I'm going to get his name properly here. But the UNLV quarterback, Matthew Sluka, who is doing something that has never really been done before. And I'm actually pretty impressed that he's actually doing this. I think this is really cool. So Matthew Sluka transferred to UNLV this offseason after 3 years. I believe at maybe the D2 level. I'd have to look. I don't remember where he went. But the most important thing is he transferred to UNLV. The Rebels were off to a 3-0 start. And Sluka was promised NIL money by the school and has repeatedly reached out and kind of everything on that front. I mean, did exactly what he was supposed to do. He enrolled. He did, his part, and he was never given the money that was promised. So instead of, just kind of grinning and bearing through it, or instead of, really making it a big thing, he just said, as of right now, we played 3 games, which is the red shirt number. He hadn't used a red shirt to this point. He said, I'm just done. I'm not playing. I'm using my red shirt year. And that's that. And assumingly he's going to transfer somewhere else after this season because the school didn't carry through on their end. I don't know. What do you think about this whole story, Sean?
I think it's just good he's betting on himself. I mean, he didn't get what they promised him, and it's one of those things. It's like he's got it. Might as well use it. I mean, he might burn some bridges, but I bet there's going to be better stuff on the other side.
Yeah, I really do too. And I know there's a lot of people who are, mad about NIL and that he's even in this position. And you be mad about that, but don't take it out on this kid who I think he's doing the absolutely right thing. I mean, he's not going to. I mean, look at the reason we even have it is because so many players weren't getting what they felt they deserved from the universities. And I'd probably agree with them in that capacity. I mean, look at, Reggie Bush as a major example where the publicity that he and Matt Leinart and that whole team brought to that school and all the money they made. And those guys, I mean, Reggie Bush lost his Heisman over signing autographs for money. I mean, O.J. Simpson kept his.
Right.
And, yeah, it's just...
Isn't he going back after the NCAA for his Heisman, too? No?
I know he has a lawsuit against the Pac-12 and the NCAA. I don't know what it all contains, but I did see that, which we probably could talk about more later on because Badgers do play USC this week. So who knows where their mental state's going to be? No, I'm kidding. All right, with the positives do come the negatives, and we do have our Tyler Hero Noogie of the Week. And Sean, I'm going to let you leave this one off as well.
I actually got 2 today.
You have 2? I think I have 2 as well.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Pirates for screwing over Rowdy Tellez out of $200,000 for 4 plate appearances.
Yeah, so just to kind of give context to our listeners who maybe don't know, Rowdy Tellez, former Brewers first baseman, was supposed to get a $200,000 bonus if he had, I don't remember what the number is off the top of my head.
425 plate appearances.
Thank you. 425 plate appearances. He had 421, and the Pittsburgh Pirates designated him for assignment, meaning that they released him, and he is going to miss out on his bonus, over $200,000, which, I mean, to us is probably a lot. But at the major league level, it's so minuscule that
it's still one of those things. It's like it's going to make free agents not want to go there. It's going to make your star players not want to play there. I mean, in the grand scheme of a team like that, it's really minuscule money. and to have it come out and the mainstream media get a hold of this, it's pretty insane. And I guess they've done this before a couple times, but I don't remember with who.
Well, you know what the worst part about it is? I mean, they're at such an interesting crossroads as an organization, right? Like they've got Andrew McCutchen, who came back and he's going to end his career there, and everybody's happy and whatever. They also have O'Neal Cruz, who you're O'Neal Cruz, which, I mean, the likelihood of you coming back when you kind of get up past the arbitration and everything like that is so minuscule. But what's the incentive then? I mean, you're screwing yourself over, you're screwing your fans over because you don't want to put a competent product out.
Right.
And like you said, you're going to start alienating, potential free agents. You're going to start alienating your own guys who aren't going to want to come back.
What if you're Paul Skeens right now? What are you thinking?
Get out of Dodge. Trade me.
And that's your number one prospect all throughout all of baseball. So
yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, you have two bona fide star. I mean, not that O'Neal Cruz is on that same level of Paul Skeens, but you have Paul Skeens who, in all likelihood, will probably get Cy Young votes. He's not going to win it, but he'll get Cy Young votes. He's probably going to be the Rookie of the Year in the NL. And you're going to alienate him in 3 years, 4 years, whatever it ends up being. He's not playing there long term.
Oh, no way. No way.
And if I was him, I'd be having those conversations already. Like, hey, what are we doing?
Right.
You want to do right and you want to build a product around me. That's great. I hope that that's the case, but you're burning bridges with, I mean, he's a glorified role player. He's not like he's lighting the world on fire, but if you're doing that to a role player over $200,000, nobody's going to come here. So you better hope those draft picks you have hit.
Right.
And, I mean, the reality is they rarely do. That's why you have 26 rounds every year or whatever it is now. So you better hope that almost all 25 draft picks work out every year.
Right.
And that's just not going to happen.
No way.
All right, what's your other one?
I'm going to go with everybody giving Shedeur Sanders the hype that Johnny Manziel was getting. Did you see this?
I have not seen directly what you're talking about, but I'm kind of here for it.
They were saying he's got just as much hype as what Johnny Manziel had, and it's not even close.
No.
Johnny Manziel paid for a new stadium, and Shedeur Sanders is gonna maybe be a number one pick. I doubt it.
It's no secret I'm a Johnny Manziel fan. I mean, literally, I've got the signed jersey and picture in my video camera.
Right.
But to compare, there are probably, I'd say, 3 or 4 bona fide, legitimate college football superstars that we've experienced in our lifetime, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to see how many of these names you agree with, but I'd probably say Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
I'd say Vince Young.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say Tim Tebow. And I'd say Johnny Manziel.
Yep, that's
everybody else. I mean, nobody rose to those 4 on that level.
No,
there's been guys who've been hyped. I mean, Jameis Winston when he was with Florida State, RG3, Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson. The list goes on. But no one transcended to that level of being so mainstream. Everybody knew the money sign with Manziel. Everybody knew the John 3:16 eye black, or the 619 eye black with Reggie Bush. And Vince Young, I mean, one of the most iconic sports photos is him running in that touchdown at the Rose Bowl.
When you just think of another iconic play is Johnny Manziel against Alabama, when he flips loses the ball and throws a touchdown. I mean,
Shawna's looking at us like we're wrong.
You have a skewed version of what iconic means.
What's your iconic football player then?
Yeah, who's your iconic college football player? College football only.
I don't have one because they're not. Probably I was about to embarrass myself. I'm not going to say. I was going to say Sam Decker, but he's a basketball player.
Yeah, Shadou Sanders seems like a good enough dude. I mean, I don't get the whole villain thing that he's going with right now too. The not shaking hands after the Colorado State game.
Right. It's just like, why are you making things way worse than they need to be? Like, it's not good for you as a person if you do want to get drafted, kind of thing. Like the team.
I mean, look at
what kind of team is that going to be?
Baker.
Right.
Baker Mayfield had all this stuff, but he was also like the runaway Heisman candidate, and they were winning. You're on a 2-2 team, should be 1-3.
Right.
And this is how you're gonna go about your business in your draft year.
I don't know.
My Nuggies. Well, I would go with the Pirates one was on my mind, and I was kind of looking at the UNLV side of that too. I gotta be honest. I got my other one though is social media, the postcard industry as a whole. This got me really. I got really in my mind about this today. Are you ready? So, and I need to talk.
I think I'm ready for this.
I gotta talk about this though. So, on my lunch, have an hour lunch, was running some errands, came back, got my mail, and in my mail there was, we have 3 mailboxes in our building. It's us, our downstairs neighbor, and our across the hallway neighbor here upstairs. We had a postcard that was meant for our downstairs neighbor, who's right next to the mailbox. So, knocked on the door, dropped it off. Which got me thinking, first of all, why is the postcard business still a thing? And how do you even, what's the way to do that? Like, how do you do postcard? Like, do you send them out while you're there, so you got to go hunt down stamps while you're in another city? You gotta go hunt down. You're buying a postcard at a museum or some tourist destination, and then you're going and being like, oh, now I gotta go find the post office to send this to somebody to buy stamps.
I'm gonna make you look like a really bad person right now.
Well,
when we went to Alaska, every place we went, Carolyn had brought stamps with her, and we sent a postcard to her grandma every stop we went, because it's a place that she will never go to, and it's just something cool that was there, and we wrote about everything that we did, and we sent it to her, and she said it was the coolest thing she got.
That's awesome. And there is room for that, but what I'm going to say is, on the flip side of this, smartphones and social media have really, if there was a postcard industry as a whole, which is still, it's cool in like a situation like that. But social media is really, and smartphones have really killed the postcard business. So I'm not sure who I'm actually more mad about. The postcard business itself or social media has killed the postcard business, because aside from situations like that, you could take the picture and be like, hey, we were here. Here's like what we did. There's a way to do it that way too.
Yeah, but it's also cool to have the postcard from where you were. You bought it there. It's the same thing as taking a picture. It's no different.
So I hear that you're a big postcard defender.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to defend it this whole way. If you really want me to get a defender in here, let me get my wife.
No need.
She'll defend this.
Sean, before that Alaska trip, when's the last time you bought a postcard?
When we got married.
What?
Our honeymoon, we bought one in Munising.
Okay. You do the same thing with it?
Mm-hmm. We do it wherever we go. We buy a postcard and write down what we did, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of, and then we put it in our memory box.
Gotcha. Well, I guess I'm in the wrong here with you. I just
You got to start doing it because you always forget about what you did at a lot of these places, and you get a postcard, you write all the stuff down, you'll never forget.
so
Because
we
what
did say
happened?
that she brought stamps with her.
Yeah,
Okay, that would probably be the best way to go about it.
yeah, she's very smart.
Not denying that. I'm just saying, like, for my, I mean, unless you're going into it with that plan, right? Like,
You
and I
buy
can't imagine
stamp
that's a
at
very
the
common
post
thing.
office, too. You can buy a stamp at the post office. You find a post office. It's not that hard.
It's so out of your way. I
No,
hate
it's
buying
not.
stamps in principle. That's probably what it comes down to. Is I hate buying stamps.
You buy them from Etsy and they're cheaper, and you don't have to worry.
Yeah, if they're valid.
Why
Have
are
you,
they not?
do you know what happens if they're not valid, Sean?
What happens?
I looked into this as well because I wanted to do that for the wedding that we had, or, our wedding and our thank you cards and all that. If you buy stamps and they're not the right ones, or they're not actual, valid USPS stamps, whatever,
Mhm.
the post office will still like pick them up and take them. But whoever you send it to will be like, they'll hold it from them, and so they have to go pay for it at the post office. They'll hold all their mail until they cough up the 73 cents to go buy the stamp for that person.
Well, you buy valid stamps. It's not that hard.
Well, it's just a big gamble on Etsy.
Why?
Well, what if you're getting ripped off?
You don't buy it. You don't buy it from Eric Fisher. You buy it from somebody that's reliable.
How do you know who's reliable if you're just getting into it?
You get a 5-star review.
Okay, you are prepared for this. I am.
This is
I
this
am.
all. This is
Oh,
all.
this is probably the most prepared for this show. You've been on this show for the better part of 2 years, if not longer. I'm trying to find the episode that you joined us as a host, and you are probably more prepared for this part of it, this episode, than I would wager that you have been more prepared for anything else on this show.
I just like being able to prove you wrong. That's my goal in life.
I mean, I guess. Episode 80, you've been with this show since episode 82. We're on 160. So over or just under half the time we've been doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the most, like, ready to answer things you've been. I mean, I'm actually kind of impressed that you have had something for everything.
I got.
I'm a little mad about it.
I believe you are, and that's why I'm excited about it. So I can tell your face is getting red, your ears are getting red.
I think it's just the camera. I don't know.
He's
So I guess
sitting there
I'm going to change my noogie to social media ruining the postcard industry. It's very clearly
there you go.
a very warm-hearted industry.
There you go.
And damn, social media has ruined it.
Yep.
All these Facebooks and Instagrams and
Put down your phones, people, and enjoy the scenery.
buy the damn postcard.
Right.
What do those cost these days?
They're like $2 for a buck. They're like 50 cents a piece.
Dollar Tree.
Right. They're like 50 cents a piece. They're really cheap.
Stamp is more than postcard. Now I'm mad about stamps again. All right, let's move on. Wisconsin Web Story of the Week. We've got one that is going to be more than just Wisconsin. It's statewide and pretty regional. Sean, the Culver's Curter Burger is returning for 2 weeks in October. From October 1st through the 14th, you can get the Curter Burger, and it leaves, like I said, on the 14th. The restaurant is also debuting a new product, a new take on cheese curds, the hot honey cheese curds. Restaurant chain touts it as a signature sweet and spicy twist on the favorite signature Wisconsin cheese curds with a touch of sweet heat from a hot honey breading. These will be on the menus until the end of the month or while supplies last. So from the 15th through October 31st or while supplies last.
I thought you said it was the 1st through the 14th.
That's the Carter Burger.
Oh, okay. I got you.
They're dropping them at separate times.
I got you.
So the Carter Burger and hot honey cheese curds. So looks like in October I'm going to Culver's at least twice.
Mm-hmm.
Because both of those sound phenomenal.
Right.
This is the 4th appearance of the Carter Burger. It was initially intended as an April Fool's joke, billed as a deluxe butter burger with a crown of golden fried cheese curd. Cheese curd fans clamored for the real thing, and Menashe Man, Jerry Barrett, started a petition that got the attention of thousands of people. The first Carter Burgers debuted on National Cheese Curd Day in 2021. They were only available for the one day, and many Culver's restaurants ran out. So for the 4th time in Culver's history, the Carter Burger is returning.
Sweet.
So if that's not exciting, I don't know what is.
And then you get ice cream.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the best part.
Shawna is pretty excited about going to Culver's twice. For those, also, I got to give a quick Shawna update. She is no longer playing Road to Glory after throwing 3 interceptions. She switched to playing Sims.
Well, you taught her everything she knows.
She was not using my offensive coordinating skills. She missed a lot of checkdowns.
It was an accident.
Yeah. We've gone through checkdowns. I told her how to read defenses. We've gone through cover 2 and Tampa 2 and single high man. We've gone through all this. She knows how to read them. Just wasn't happening tonight. The Cincinnati Bearcats in college football 2025, they got the best of her tonight. And she did not save, so she did rage quit. I can confirm.
Oh. What team was she?
She is the starting quarterback as a true freshman 5-star recruit for the TCU Horned Frogs.
Nice. Andy Dalton, 2.0.
The Fighting Andy Daltons. But yeah, so now she is playing Sims because she threw 3 really bad interceptions.
The announcer guys were not happy with me.
Jesse Palmer and who else is on that? It's Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, and I can't remember who the other guy in the non-big game one is, but they were roasting Shawna a new one, probably. So that's fun.
Now I'm creating us.
And now she's playing Sims.
Nice.
Which brings us to the sports takes and sports information. So we get into the world of sports. Starting off with our update on the Roofer Wisconsin Fantasy Football League. And, man, I'm having a rough year in fantasy football this year. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a tricky year to navigate the fantasy football world.
All the injuries this year.
All the injuries, everything, we've had injuries galore. We've had injuries to other people, like the backups. It's just been a lot.
You've had bad teams beating good teams and all that kind of stuff.
Some terrible performances, some all-time great performances. But week 3, the breakdown, Ramsey got a huge win over Tyson, 152.12 to 87.88. So Ramsey moves to 2-1 on the year. Tyson falls to 1-2. Justin takes down Sean. Team Doll taking down Cut My Life into Pieces, 132.36 to 126.06. Jordan Fields having a career year in the Battle of the Jordans. Kittles and Bits taking down Tribal Chief Jordan Fifield, 116.54 to 99.92. Real quick, we got to talk about the fact that against all odds, Jordan Fields is having a fantastic year. And
you were giving him crap as soon as after the draft, and look at him now.
Hey, you were also giving him crap. I have receipts. Mark goes to 2-1 on the season, taking down Shawna.
No!
Butker taking down EC Breezy Beautiful 121.96 to 114.58.
Tell everybody the story.
Shawna got real upset on Monday night because Mark grabbed Zach Ertz late Sunday afternoon as the games were going on. And Shawna sitting here like she had two guys going on Monday Night Football in the doubleheader. Mark had one. So she needed a combination of Brian Robinson and Dalton Kincaid to outscore Zach Ertz. Mark went into the game with a very narrow lead. And Zach Ertz scored 8.8 for the evening. Brian Robinson had 10.7, Dalton Kincaid 13.1. And in all, it was not enough for Shawna to overcome. And she went to bed winning that game. She went to bed winning. And Zach Ertz had a hell of a fourth quarter.
I was not a happy camper.
Battles for Ohio.
That was
Built Ford Tough takes down Team Tornator 80.48 to 62.48. And then the Lambeau Chef, Zach Ledubek, takes me down 127.14 to 122.2. A game that I had Jawan Jennings go for 46.5. And
that's
still
the only reason you were even close in that matchup.
It is. I mean, he had Amari Cooper at 27. He had Saquon Barkley at 33.6. His defense beat the shit out of mine metaphorically. He had the Jets defense, I had the Dallas defense, so he had 16, I had -6, so that's a 20-point swing there. But we made it close, Jawan Jennings. And I would have won this game if James Cook didn't drop a touchdown pass from Josh Allen that he was about to walk in the end zone with in the second quarter of that Monday Night Football game, and then did not get a touch after that.
Well, they were up, 42-10?
Something like that, yeah. So this week, I'll actually look at our standings. After 3 weeks in the Eastern Division, it's Team Dahl, Ramsey, and Ledubek all at 2-1. And then Sean, myself, and Tyson all at 1-2. In the West, it is David Muller at 3-0, Shawna at 2-1, Mark at 2-1, Jordan Fields at 2-1, and then the Tribal Chief, Jordan Fifield, and Anthony Tornator both at 0-3. So that is our standings for the week. And then for the schedule this week, we've got myself taking on Tyson. Justin takes on the Lambeau Chef, Zach Ledubek. Sean, you've got Ramsey this week. Mark versus Jordan Fifield. Kittles and Bits versus Team Tornator. And Shawna taking on Dave Moeller for Western Division supremacy.
He's going down.
Johnny, you want to make a trade?
Only if it's for something good.
It's always good.
Hit me up. I'm in the market.
All right.
This is not going to go well for anybody involved.
Why?
I don't know. I don't got a good feeling about this.
Don't try to lowball me.
Why not?
Why not?
I'm smarter than you.
No, you just asked Eric.
No, I was doing my research yesterday.
Yeah, Shawna. I think I could say this. No, I probably shouldn't. I'm gonna wait. But Shawna made a hell of a trade yesterday in another fantasy football league that I am so proud of her for, and how she lobbied it to happen. She got Chris Olave for DeAndre Swift.
What?
We'll talk more about this later. All I can say is I'm impressed.
That's very impressive.
Great trade value in receiving and getting rid of for her sake, it was a backup running back. It's an 18 league, so their rosters are pretty stacked. Traded somebody who did not have a single running back backup on their roster.
Okay.
So that trade goes through. That trade will go through tomorrow. So we'll talk about more at that point. But so yeah, it's that fantasy football's a bitch this year. It's I think my best team I have is 2-1. I don't have any 3-0 teams. I have quite a few 1-2 teams. I have an 0-3 team.
Yep.
And
I got 1 3-0 team.
It's just, you try to do the delicate balance of picking for now or trying to pick for the future a little bit. And my 0-3 team, I did a lot of work for, future picks, and it kind of came back to bite me because I didn't have much of a bench. Only one IR spot in that league. It was, it's been rough. Also, we've had so many IR stints. I mean, how many of the top 10 guys have been on IR now? Christian McCaffrey hasn't played a game yet. Puka Nacua goes on it.
Are you mad you drafted him first overall?
No, I still stand by it, but...
You want to trade him? Take him off your hands.
He's not costing me a roster spot right now, so I'm good.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many people have been sitting here? And the only good thing that's really come out of the Christian McCaffrey injury, fantasy football wise, is that no one knew how severe his injury was until Monday Night Football when the inactives dropped. And that was 90 minutes before the game. So if you were like me and you had him in a league, you were able to go grab Jordan Mason if he was a free agent, which most leagues he was. And then you could put McCaffrey in your IR spot if you had the room.
Right.
So I guess that's been the one nice thing, but yeah, it's been rough, and we've had quarterbacks go down. We've had, not that Jordan Love is a top fantasy football quarterback, but we've had others go down. We've had Justin Fields is somehow fantasy football relevant, which I don't think anybody counted on.
No. Do you expect the Steelers to be 3-0 with Justin Fields?
Not a chance.
So
I expect Sam Darnold to be an MVP candidate.
Right.
He's not the favorite. I think he's 10th or 11th, depending on what sports book you're looking at. But
who the heck would be number one? Who's number one?
Josh Allen's the odds-on favorite right now.
Okay, I forget about him.
Josh Allen, Mahomes is still up there,
which doesn't make any sense because he's been horrible this year, I think.
I mean, I don't think he's been good, but they're 3-0, so.
Right, but he hasn't been Mahomes.
Well, nobody on that team has been who they're supposed to be, so.
Except Rashee Rice.
Well, he's not supposed to be playing.
He's saving my fantasy team, so.
He shouldn't be playing right now, for being honest, but we don't need to have that conversation.
No.
CJ Stroud is, I think, up there. Lamar, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts. Joe Burrow is still a relevant bet getter. Kyler Murphy, Dak, Brock Purdy, and then Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, though, I mean, statistically speaking, when he's a full season starter, his first 3 weeks are actually usually pretty good. When it comes to a full season, that's kind of his dip point is week 3 or week 4 after week 3, which could be good for the Packers if trends continue. I don't want, we'll get to that later. But if you had told me, I mean, right now you can get Sam Darnold at most sports books at plus 3,000 as your MVP favorite, be a dark horse candidate. Now, Josh Allen, the odds-on favorite currently is plus 200. Mahomes is plus 325, and then it's a pretty sizable jump after that. Or like Stroud's at plus like 1,300 or 1,200. Lamar's at like plus 2,000. Rodgers is at plus 2,000. You know, all these guys are down there. So it's a pretty sizable. It's like Josh Allen and Mahomes are pretty 1 and 2 right now.
Right.
Yeah, Sam Darnold having a renaissance year makes no sense.
No.
Nobody's consistent. I mean, you look at first 2 weeks of the season, it's like, hey, maybe Derek Carr's good again. Maybe Baker Mayfield's good again. And they go lay a turd week 3. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, we'll talk more football in a little bit. Before we do, though, do you want to talk a bit of baseball? Brewers have wrapped up the NL Central. Gunning for that 3 seed or that 2 seed. With the Phillies, I think the Phillies have won tonight. I don't know if that game went final yet, so it's going to make it a very uphill battle if it has. Yes, the Phillies and Cubs did just go final. So Phillies are at 94 and 65, the Brewers at 90-68, and the Dodgers 93 and 64. Brewers currently are trailing 2-1. Or that game just also went final. So, yeah, it's gonna be an uphill battle on that one. Very well looks like, barring some sort of catastrophic collapse, that the Brewers are going to be the 3 seed again. As of right now, we would get a rematch of last year's NL wildcard 3 versus 6 with the Diamondbacks. The Brewers did drop 3 out of 4 to them over the weekend, but they had won 2 out of 3 the previous weekend. A little bit of a kind of a post-Champagne hangover after the clinching the division.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. But they also then had their biggest comeback. They've had one of their biggest comebacks in franchise history on Sunday to avoid 4 straight losses, which they haven't had all season.
Right.
Came back from 8-0 down in the second inning. Ended up winning the game 10-9. I think it's going to be a fun postseason. We've seen this movie before, but this team really does feel different than those Craig Counsell teams. I mean, this is usually where they were kind of limp into the finish and hoping for the best. And, we got the division locked up. We'll be okay. This year doesn't seem like that.
Right.
I hope I'm not wrong on that.
I hope so. I still feel like you're gonna go through LA no matter what.
And I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because they've won 1 postseason game since 2018.
Right.
That was in 2021. So we don't want to get too far ahead here. But the other side of this thing is too, if Philly ends up getting the 1 seed, you do take down whoever gets that 6 seed. So you go into a 2 versus 3 against the Dodgers. It might be the best time to play them right now. I'd rather play them in the NLDS versus the NLCS. Because their pitching staff is, really beaten up right now. You don't want to give them potential to have, 3 or 4 games to get, a breather and maybe get a guy healthier too.
Right.
Not that their offense, because you still got to go against one of the best offenses in baseball. I mean, Shohei, Mookie Betts. Shohei is doing something that's never really been done before again, but now it's actually mattering because the team doesn't suck.
Right.
And he's just doing it as a batter, which is insane. And there's talk that a deep run in the playoffs might mean he could pitch. I doubt it. I don't think you go into a postseason with a guy who hasn't pitched in a year.
Right.
But, maybe. I wouldn't interrupt him hitting 50 and 50.
Oh.
And yeah, like I said, I like the Brewers against whoever they play in that 2 out of 3 at AmFam next week. I don't hate their matchup against the Dodgers. The Phillies, I don't know. We've got bad blood against almost all these teams in the playoffs right now.
Right.
I mean, if you look at the postseason field, there's 7 teams in contention. Cubs are officially eliminated over the weekend, I believe. I think the Cardinals are too. So your postseason field is going to be the Dodgers, Phillies, Brewers, for sure. Padres have clinched a playoff spot, and that leaves the Mets, the Diamondbacks, and the Braves all fighting for 3 teams fighting for 2 spots.
The Mets are in? Really?
Mets would be the 5 as of right now.
I thought they traded away everybody.
I did too. They have lost their most recent game. They lost tonight, I believe. Or they postponed, so they actually have a doubleheader with the Braves. I believe that'll be tomorrow.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it is the Mets, or the Padres are currently locked in at the 4, or I don't think they're locked in yet, but they are 2 back of the Dodgers. Yeah, 2 back of the Dodgers. I don't know who would have tiebreaker there. Padres are 9-1 in their last 10 to grab that 4 seed. Mets are at the 5, have a half game advantage over the Diamondbacks, and then the Diamondbacks have a half game over the Braves.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
So I don't really want to see Arizona again. I don't love the idea of seeing the Braves again.
Yeah, but the Braves don't have Acuna and this and that. It's like
the Mets don't really scare me, although we'll see them. We have a 3-game set with them to end the regular season, so that's not great. To have a team in the same city for 6 days and.
The Mets are probably the hot team going into the playoffs here, really.
Yeah, it's them and San Diego, and San Diego don't have to worry about it. San Diego's pretty locked into that 4. They're either going to be the 2 or the 4, just the way it's going to be. Although I do think they actually have a series against the Dodgers here to end the week. So that might get interesting there as well.
Yeah.
No, they're in the 4-game series with them right now. That game has to start yet tonight, so. Dodgers did not beat them last night. Dodgers have lost their last one. So that started yesterday. They play through today and then tomorrow, obviously. So might be a doubleheader in there, I'm guessing. I don't know. I'd have to look at how the schedule falls. But regardless, that's Brewers. Tim Rattlers fell short in their Midwest League championship hunt. They lose in, I think, Game 3 of the championship, but still pretty impressive run for them, so hats off to them for a great season. Brings us to college football. Wisconsin Badgers had a week off this week. They're back at it against 13th-ranked USC. Sean, off the top of your head, what do you think the spread on that game is?
28.
Not as bad as you'd think. 15.5. So 15.5. Badgers versus USC. Yeah, I really don't have anything positive on this one. Tyler Van Dyke down with the torn ACL, so it'll be the Braden Locke show. Yeah, I really got nothing here. I don't have any straws to grasp. USC is 2-1. They did lose to Michigan this past weekend. 27-24 game where Michigan did get the run game going. I'm going to go on record saying they probably have a better rushing aspect of their offense than the Badgers do right now. Khalil Munnings had 159 yards and 17 carries for 2 touchdowns. Donovan Edwards had 14 carries for 74 and a touchdown. Their quarterback, Alex Orji, he had 13 for 43. Passing-wise, Michigan only threw 12 passes against them. 7 of 12 for 32 yards.
Well,
But the scouting report on the USC Trojans, Miller Moss, their quarterback, 28 of 51 against the Wolverines. He had 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Kyron Hudson was 0 for 1. Rushing attack, Woody Marks, 13 carries, 100 yards, no scores. So all their damage obviously coming through the air. Zachariah Branch, 6 for 98. Jacoby Lane, 4 for 15 a tud. Jay Fair, 3 for 42 a tud. And then Deuce Robinson, 2 for 19 in the score. Again, a much better matchup than what they're going to see against Wisconsin. You go on the road, first road game of the year for the Badgers. Did have the week off, I guess maybe. I wouldn't be picking them. I don't think they're going to cover this game. But if you're looking for something to hang on to as a Badger fan, you have a week off. You had Braden Locke a little more time to game plan and adjust. Got fresh legs in the backs. Maybe something in that tape against how to attack the defense on the ground. You could really open it up, I guess, with the playbook and just say screw it. And one thing I would like to see the Badgers do is to not be so reliant on Braden Locke. Like I would really like to see them, if push comes to shove, look at the backup quarterbacks and see what they got to do there. They are a little behind the 8 ball in the sense that the backup quarterback they kind of had as an option who would probably be a good fit to push Braden Locke right now, Nick Evers, did transfer to UConn. And that would have been a good fit. I'm going to push for our guy, Cole LaCrue, who we had on the show when he was first committed to Wisconsin. But losing Nick Evers does hurt a lot, or Evers, whatever it is. Would have been a good fit. They do have Sunshine Jr. as a true freshman, but he might be redshirting, maybe Medhauer. So, all in all, I mean, I guess it's kind of the Braden Locke show, and maybe they'll go to Cole LaCrue, because I would like to see Cole LaCrue get some reps if things aren't going well.
Right.
Because I look at what he brought to the table as a high schooler, and I don't want to make this I'm making this not because of the Shedeur Sanders comments we had earlier, but when we interviewed him, he said that his game, he's a dual threat quarterback, which is what the Badgers need. Braden Locke's more of a pro style. He compared his style of play and kind of the way he carries himself similar to Johnny Manziel, and again, not in the same breath. But I'm just saying because that's his words. And I mean, why not? If it's not working with Braden Locke, I mean, I gotta imagine he's the number 2 going into the game. Give him a look.
Right. What's gonna hurt? Because what are the Badgers are 1-1, 1-2?
They are 2-1.
2-1.
They had the wins against Western Michigan and South Dakota.
Oh,
before. I mean, they probably should be 2-2 because the way they got beat down against Alabama should count for 2. They're going to fall to 2-2 more than likely, but I guess stranger things have happened. I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't bet on it. Not that we can in Wisconsin anyway.
Right.
But maybe, like I said, maybe the run game gets going with the 2 weeks off, and I really can't talk myself into it. I'm having a hard time. I mean, maybe it's the run game. Maybe it's some jet motions and just seeing what sticks.
Right. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be.
It's going to be ugly. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be ugly. Right. I think USC is going to cover that. So if you're in a state where it's legal, first of all, do it responsibly. But that would be my pick. I can't imagine it's too much. I mean, it's minus 700 if you bet the the outright win for USC. Now, Wisconsin, let's just say something happens here. They are plus 500. Again, would not make that pick. Would not. Not even touch it. Don't even look at it.
No.
But if it happens, that's your odds.
Mm-hmm.
Do with that what you will.
Hey.
Give me the $10 that you're probably going to put down on it. Just send it to us. But if you choose to, by all means, do so responsibly. All the legal disclaimers that go with that. All right, let's look at the Packers. We'll wrap this up here with the Packers. And Packers advanced 2-1 on the season after taking down the Tennessee Titans in fantastic form. It was a dominant start-to-finish win. Really can't say. I mean, where do you even start with that game? Like you said, Malik Willis, and your root for, did what he had to do, played the game plan perfectly. Matt LaFleur was in his bag the last 2 weeks. I mean, those are probably the best 2 coach games he's had as a coach. A couple stats from that game. Malik Willis, 13 of 19, 202 yards, touchdown to Emmanuel Wilson. Willis also 6 carries, 73 yards on the ground. Wilson was 12 for 50. Jacobs 14 for 43. Did have, I think I saw a stat that Josh Jacobs had 45 yards taken back on penalties on him, including a long, I think it was like a 23-yard run that came back. Jaden Reed had 2 for 19 on a jet sweep, and then kind of mop up non-kneel down territory. Chris Brooks, 3 carries, 3 yards. Receiving, Christian Watson led the way, 2 for 67. Jaden Reed, 4 for 50. Emmanuel Wilson, 2 for 35, most of which came on the 30-yard touchdown. Tucker Kraft, 2 for 24. Romeo Dobbs, 1 for 18. Josh Jacobs, 1 for 5. Musgrave, 1 for 3. Dontavian Wicks did not have a catch, but he did have 2 targets. Yeah, they didn't have to reinvent the wheel with it. And I think the coolest thing about this situation, though, is how much it really opens up the offense for Jordan Love to return. Is you have so many things on tape that you can go to, and that Jordan Love is well within his game of being able to do as a passer, as a runner. Everything is so much more wide open. But you survived what you had to, and you now know that if something happens again, or let's just say, we're kind of on the assumption Jordan Love's going to play this week, but if he doesn't, you have a competent guy. I mean, I think everybody and their brother thought the Packers were going to start that game running, and he had 60 yards on the first drive throwing. 2 30-plus yard plays. So Malik Willis is a darn good quarterback. When he gets in rhythm, can let it rip. We saw it at Liberty. Didn't really get to see it with the Tennessee Titans, but they never had the weapons he does here.
No.
So,
and you didn't have the coach either. I think that's a lot to do with it too.
Well, yeah, and that's he would have had Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator for 1 year, and I can't remember who it was last year, but similar-ish offense, but not anywhere close to what Matt LaFleur is. To that matter, what Adam Stenavich is, and to really the ultimate thing is Tom Clements. You really wonder how much of an impact one coach has had, or any of these one coaches have had in 4 weeks that he's been here. But it goes to say how they get him prepared, and everything that kind of goes into that. One thing I do want to give credit for, and I got to say, I don't want to give myself a noogie on, because I think everybody in Packer Nation was kind of thinking this, but the Packers had to make a move after the preseason. They had to cut Sean Clifford. They had to cut Michael Pratt. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Now I've come to realize, as he does host one of our bi-weekly radio shows on The Fan, Sean Clifford's a cool dude. And he seems like a good human being. And he knows football. He was a 6-year guy at Penn State. Ironically, was actually teammates and had gotten benched for Will Levis, and then Will Levis got benched because he's a turnover machine. and Sean Clifford got the job back at Penn State before Levis went on to Kentucky. But all in all, Clifford talked about it on the radio show last week about how being a backup quarterback, how hands-on it is of being in the room and working on game plan and how much film the backup has to work or watch and all that stuff. And working on that game plan with your coaching staff. So it's really goes to show, and Sean Clifford said that he was kind of the one that put the bug in the air on the Dontavian Wicks touchdown last week against Indianapolis. Like, that was his concept that he had seen in film, that would work. And he's not looking to take credit for it, but just it's what he mentioned. That was his play. But it goes to show about how really the whole process is, and I gotta feel like it's probably something similar everywhere else. But to have a guy, Sean Clifford knows football. The dude's been around. 6 years at Penn State, it's not a slouch. That's a Rose Bowl winning quarterback. Mm-hmm. The mind up here is right. It's just maybe he's not at NFL level talent. That's just what happens.
Well, when Kurt Benkert got big on TikTok and YouTube, and still is, but you can just tell the football mind compared to the athleticism. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. It's just one of those things.
Yeah. And you can see it on film. Just because you see it on film doesn't mean you can necessarily react to it as fast in the game, and you might not see it as fast in the game, or maybe you don't have the arm to make the throw that you do see. Whatever the situation is. But yeah, Clifford's got the mind for it, and Kurt Benkert to that end does too.
Right.
But yeah, we look at that and the role that he played with that in that situation. And again, I think the weapons that Malik Willis has access to here in Green Bay with Watson and Dobbs and Reed, Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson for that end, and Christian Watson, Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave, etc.
I think the other thing that we got to look at too is just all the receivers and the tight ends' willingness to block for all these quarterback runs and everything like that. That they were talking about it a lot on the what do I want to say? The broadcast. Yeah, the broadcast. And it was just you see it a lot more once they point it out. You just notice those things, and it's just kind of cool that they're able to do that now.
Well, and you look at the guys they have, right? Like, if you had, Jeff Janis was really good at that, and Jake Kummerow, you got to find a niche and make your roll onto your roster, whatever. But who would have thought that Christian Watson would be one of the better blocking receivers? You look at his frame and nothing screams blocking, but he's doing it. Same thing, Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed's a slot receiver, true and whatever. But the dude, Malik Willis, doesn't score that first rushing touchdown without him setting the edge perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, absolutely. It goes hand in hand with that. And I think that's a coaching thing. And I think that's it's a young, unselfish thing of, this is the game plan. Watson had 2 catches. Mm-hmm. He made the most of those 2, but he had 2 catches. And I think he only had maybe 2 or 3 targets.
Right.
That's just the reality of the offense with Willis. But you're trying to win football games. Like, you got to do what you got to do. And I think this group of guys has been incredibly willing to do what they had to do on that capacity.
They're all just buying into the game plan, and that's kind of nice to see for these young guys.
Absolutely.
Not like Oakland, the travesty that's going on over there. So,
oh my God.
Or Vegas, sorry.
Yeah. The other takeaway before we move on to this week's game, welcome to Green Bay, Jeff Hafley.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness. We talk about Matt LaFleur in the last 2 weeks and getting these wins. Jeff Hafley, last week they had the 3 takeaways, the 3 interceptions. they had, they only allowed 10 points. I mean, there's nothing really to slouch on there either. But this week really seemed to be kind of that here's the difference game. And I know myself, I know Justin thought it too because him and I were texting and social media. That game starts out and the Titans, after the Packers go down and score, the Titans go down the field, 10 plays, 70 yards, and they go score a touchdown on their own. And it's like, oh, here we go. We're going to get a 45-42 type shootout with Will Levis at freaking quarterback.
That would have been fun to see.
I'd have been so stressed. But there was a lot of soft zone being played, a lot of kind of feeling out and seeing what happens, and kind of just getting through that scripted part of the game plan, I think. And I think that's probably part of it, too. Is coordinators will schedule, the coach will schedule the first 10 to 15 plays. Like, hey, here's what we're going to run no matter what. They kind of said, hey, let's see him out. Let's feel him out, see what they're going to do those 10 plays. And ends in a touchdown to a guy who hadn't caught one since 2021, which, again, I saw that stat pop up on the broadcast, too. I'm like, it's going to be one of those days, huh? But after that, thoroughly impressed. I mean, 8 sacks, getting after the quarterback, not really having to get too crazy, like exotic looks, just defensive line getting home. Devontae Wyatt looks like a freaking animal.
Yeah, Kingsley and Barre.
He had the strip sack. Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith getting home. And, yeah, just can't say enough about that whole group. And then another pick for Xavier McKinney. He's on pace for 17, which is crazy. I think it's the first time since the 60s that somebody's had their first 3 straight games with the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
Jair gets his first career pick 6, which I'm amazed that it took this long.
Yeah.
I didn't. When they said that on the broadcast, it hit my ear wrong. But there's no way that's his first one. But yeah, obviously it is. I mean, they had 7 all of last year. They have 7 as a team through week 3. So, welcome to Green Bay, Jeff Halfley. I think things are gonna be okay. This week's gonna be probably their biggest test so far. The Jalen Hurts, obviously, week 1 was a big test, but this one, their next biggest. We don't know if Jordan Addison's going to go for Minnesota. Justin Jefferson's going to play. I don't think T.J. Hawkinson would be in any position to play anyway, but it's still week 4, so he can't come off of IR anyway.
Yep. Aaron Jones' revenge game.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one this Sunday.
It's just nice to see him doing good. That's all I really care about.
Aaron Jones aside, I just mean like the game as a whole. Aaron Jones, I don't know. Do you see his article in Player Tribune? That's a dude. I mean, not to sound like Chris Collinsworth, that's a dude who he was Green Bay.
Right.
And he was such a good representative for the community. And, I say it all the time too, the connection I had with him when he was a rookie. He talked about in his Player Tribune about how there's all these guys about who they bet on. And I know after he got drafted, he was the guy that I bet on out of that draft class. And getting to interview him as a rookie, and when I was an intern, in the locker room after practice one day is something I'll never forget. And the career guys, they have like their laminated press pass and all that. They walk around and you're not supposed to interrupt them or whatever. And if they're asking, you just shut up and you listen.
Right.
But nobody's talking to Aaron Jones, and he was just kind of standing there like, hey, somebody talk to me. Like, well, hey, this is the guy I believe in anyway. So I'm going to go, and we had like a 6-minute conversation, interview. And it was kind of like one of those moments, and, I was like, hey, I'm doing this. And I feel like probably, for him too, it was, hey, somebody cares, like he was a 3rd-string running back at that point behind Ty Montgomery and Jamal Williams.
Right.
He was a healthy scratch the first 2 or 3 weeks.
Jamal Williams drafted that same draft class, or was he
draft class 4th round versus 5th round, I think. I know Jamal was drafted before him. I can't remember if it was like 4th and 5th or 4th and 6th or what it was, but you good?
Yeah, I'm just laughing at what your wife sent me.
I have a feeling I know what she's talking about. Rude.
What's she
Anyway,
talking about?
anyway,
Tell me.
anyway.
What are you talking about?
We're not going to go down that road. I'm not taking the bait. I'm not doing it.
I don't know what she's talking about. What do you mean?
Anyway,
I had no idea.
picks for the week. So you guys both weren't able to join last week, so we'll go through our picks. Thursday Night Football, we've got the Cowboys at the Giants.
Am I taking notes?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Oh. Hang on.
So while Shawna gets her notes ready,
So when you did this interview with Aaron Jones, what would you call yourself
I was an intern.
besides being an intern?
I was an intern.
Intern doing what?
Radio?
Oh, not just radio.
Not saying it.
Just say it.
Not saying it.
All right.
Give him a few beers, he'll say it.
Yeah. All right, I'm
I
ready.
hate you guys. Thursday Night Football, we've got Dallas at the Giants. Who's going first, Shawna?
Sean.
I'm gonna go Dallas, even though I don't want to.
Going Giants.
I'm definitely going Cowboys here. This is a big bounce back week for them.
I'm thinking so too.
All right, Saints Falcons.
I think I'm gonna go Atlanta. I'm gonna go Falcons.
Going Saints.
I'm also going Atlanta.
I don't like that one, but
Yeah, this one I could go either way on. Atlanta, I think, has looked better in their losses than New Orleans. I mean, New Orleans had their first really 2 good weeks, but they didn't look great against Philadelphia.
no,
I think Atlanta matches up with them very well.
right?
All right, Rams Bears.
There's 2 Thursday night games this week.
Oh no, we're in the Sunday. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Rams Bears. Noon
Ooh.
kick.
Oof. I'm gonna go with the Bears.
I'll do Rams.
I'm also going Rams.
Don't have anybody to throw to.
They have just a better overall team.
Yeah.
Philip Williams, hot garbage.
You heard it here. It took him 11 and a half quarters of pro football, of games that matters, and he finally threw his first touchdown. But his interceptions look terrible again. All right. Vikings Packers.
For the record, Sean's had faith in the Bears every time we have picked, and they've lost every time.
No, they won week 1.
Oh, yeah, sorry. What is it?
Vikings Packers.
I think this is the toughest game to pick this week. I really do.
It's up there.
I'm gonna go Green Bay. I think Green Bay wins it.
Me too.
Taking Minnesota.
Oh, Rick.
I think, well, they usually split, and in the last handful of years, they've always won on the road. And it just seems like Jordan Love coming off the injury.
I don't think Jordan will play. I really don't.
You don't think he's going to play?
No, it's going to be Malik.
I think you give him another week. What's it going to hurt to give him another week?
I don't know.
Give him Malik.
All right. The Pat McAfee Bowl, the Steelers versus the Colts.
Steelers.
Colts.
Hammer down, I'm going with the Steelers. The Zach Wilson Bowl, the Broncos versus Jets.
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 I'm also going Jets. I got nothing fun to describe this one. Eagles Bucks.
Eagles.
Who's quarterback of the Buccaneers?
Baker.
Bucks.
I'm also going Bucks.
Ooh, you're going to take the upset.
I am.
Okay.
Probably the ugliest game of the week. We've got Bengals Panthers.
Bengals.
The Andy Dalton game.
Bengals.
I'm also going Bengals, but I really want to pick the Panthers now.
I do too.
Jacksonville, Houston.
Houston.
Washington, Arizona.
Arizona.
No, that's hard. Or the Commanders.
I'm also going. The Commanders are 2-1.
Jaden Daniels looks like the better pick than Caleb Williams.
Sure does. Shocker there. Patriots, San Francisco.
Niners.
Also Niners. This really
May
has
start?
ugly game written all over it, though, doesn't it?
Right. Is Drake May going to start?
I believe so. I don't have that confirmed. Browns, Raiders.
Raiders.
Oh, Browns. This is probably the hardest game to pick. This is going to be ugly, too. This game will not be hard to pick. Chiefs, Chargers.
Chargers have been doing good this year, though.
Justin Herbert's going to be out, though.
Is he?
I believe so. I don't know if they've officially ruled him out, but I can't imagine after he tweaked his high ankle sprain that he played on 1 week out of. He tweaked it again and came out.
Yeah, we'll go Chiefs.
Chiefs. Sunday Night Football. We've got Bills, Ravens.
Whew. Bills.
Also going Bills.
Ooh.
That's going to be a fun Sunday Night Football game.
Mm-hmm. That might be one you might have to stay up for.
2 Monday Night Football games this week. We've got Titans, Dolphins.
Whew.
And I have no idea who's going to be quarterback for Miami.
Tyler Huntley.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. Guy from the Ravens that last year? 2 years?
2 years.
I'm gonna go with the Dolphins.
Titans.
What about watching the Packers destroy them inspired confidence in you?
I don't think the Dolphins are that good.
I'm also going Dolphins. And then we've got Seahawks, Lions.
I'm gonna go with the Seahawks.
Lions.
I'm going to say the Lions. I don't love this one. Seahawks, I didn't realize the Seahawks were 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
They've been very quiet again.
Geno Smith.
I don't like that. I really don't. I'm gonna stick with it because I said it and it's how our picks work. You get your first pick. But there's no part of me that has any faith in that at all.
It's okay. You can go. We'll give you one thing. You can go back on it if you just say what you are.
I'm gonna stick with it. All right, let's wrap this up. We've got our Ticket Smarter ticket of the week. And for this one, kind of a no-brainer. We're going to go Packers, Vikings, return to Lambeau Field. Probably plenty of tickets available because it's a friggin' gold package game. All the division games this year are gold package games, so very much expect to see probably a lot of purple in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of waving going on.
Yeah, that too. Tickets $2.15 currently, but you can get $10 off. Code words 10 ROOTS number 10 $10 off your order. Tickets are still plenty available. Sean, what are you rooting for this week?
finally this cool weather. Hoping it stays. That's about it.
Well, it's supposed to be 80 tomorrow, so.
Well, way to ruin it, Shawna.
Yep. That's what I'm here for.
How's that AC in your school?
You can't see what I'm doing, but you can guess.
Yeah, that's it. Sean, what do you got for us this week?
Oh, me?
Yeah, sure. You're contributing now.
Packer win.
All right. And you know what? I'm going to wrap it up. We got football. We got 4 straight days of football. Between Thursday night football, high school football, Badgers on Saturday, Packers on Sunday. Actually 5, because I forgot Monday. Big Ten football starts for the Badgers this week. That's weird to say against USC, but is what it is. So with that, episode 160 is in the books for Dylan, Ramsey, and Justin, who aren't here. I'm Eric. That's Shauna. That's Sean. We're out. See ya.
See ya.